apply for that until the season ended. Is there an update that you would know something in regards there?
All the paperwork has been submitted for Eric Hempy to get that additional year of eligibility. It's out of our hands now. You know, it's been applied for to the NCAA. Hopefully what we submitted is clear cut and he'll be granted that. If he is granted that red shirt, the medical red shirt, by a certain time period, he's told me that he's going to come back. The timing of this is huge. It is. It really is. I mean, he's got to be able to make his plans academically, etc., and we've got to be able to make our plans as a program, you know, between the draft and him coming back. But as of this moment, where it stands with Eric Hempy, I want him to come back. He wants to come back. It's the hopes he's going to come back, but now it's up to the NCAA.
Sometimes you don't know how quick they respond. Is there a time frame? Is it something you're hoping, you know, by the end of the month, or will it take maybe throughout the summer? You just really just
it'd be my hopes by the end of the month we have a decision. If it goes, you know, the farther it goes, the harder it's going to be. You know, the farther in the summer this thing goes on, the harder it's going to be. So it's hopefully we'll know something in the next few weeks.
It seems like this is a team that has to retool with a lot of underclassmen next season. How important would it be to have a guy like Eric Hempy, a veteran, in the lineup?
Having Eric Hempy would be huge. There's no question. Eric Hempy is a proven player. I mean, he's a proven player in college baseball. So to have the presence, and he's a middle of the lineup hitter. Eric Hempy's going to hit the middle of our lineup for us and play for us next year. Like, I already know that. So to have somebody that you know is a proven player that's going to do it, you know, it would be huge for us. But again, it's out of our hands. I mean, I feel confident in the case. I mean, he certainly was hurt for 2 years and didn't play, so you hope that's the way they look at it. It's not up to me, it's up to them. So it's just, we'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks. But I can tell you this, yeah, even from a recruiting standpoint, it's really important. We need to know as we continue to plan moving ahead.
Talking about that, you know, with the draft over, you seem to have a better idea, you know, on Thursday what you have to do as far as recruiting all that stuff. I know you're not talking generalities, but do you have a game plan now?
Well, we have a game plan. I mean, Connor Lean signed. He did sign. He signed with the Atlanta Braves the other day. I do know that. The rest of the players, I'm anticipating everybody comes to school. You know, that's the plan right now. It's always been the plan. But we need to, you know, let me just tell you this: our recruiting is not done. You know, I mean, it's never. You're always moving. You know, I mean, you're always trying to make things happen. But we did have some players that, you know, some signees that were drafted. It is my from what I understand and what I hope is my intention that all of those kids enroll in school. All of the guys who were drafted in our program have or will be signing with professional teams, though, which is fine with me. That's the way it should work. I'm excited for all of them. They all deserve opportunities.
A real competitive process, you know, trying to find players late that are available, because a lot of teams are going through the same thing. They've lost players in the draft, maybe guys they didn't expect to lose. I know a lot of in-state teams lost some guys. Is that always a real competitive process, trying to find those quality late players? It
is an extremely competitive process. You know, when you get to this point, college baseball recruiting, though, is, you know, you're right. You know, you lose players, but it's how much, you know, that's what the difference between college baseball and football and basketball and really any other sport. You've got 11.7 scholarships. Well, you can't be over once school starts. And if you're too far under, then you're not going to have enough talent to perform at the highest level. So it's a balance, you know. Even though we lost players, you have to know you're going to lose players throughout the year. I mean, going into the year, we lost a lot of guys in our program to the draft, but I certainly anticipated, you know, the entire year that those guys would likely get drafted. So, I mean, we're covered in a lot of areas. You know, I'm okay with where we are, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely a process. I mean, every year there's always a couple of surprises, good and bad. You know, we just need to keep moving forward.
You said you had to anticipate losing some people. Have you ever been a part of a team where you lose virtually the entire back end of your bullpen plus 5 of the 8 everyday starters in the field?
I've been a part of a few of those teams, yes. Yeah, I mean, I have. I mean, it's going to happen. I mean, that's the thing. It's going to happen, and it should happen basically, you know, pretty often. I mean, if you're bringing the type of players in, you're not going to be a nationally ranked baseball program without kids getting drafted into professional baseball. So we just talked about Stony Brook. I mean, what do they have? 5 guys in the top 15 or something like that. I mean, that's just the truth. In order to be a great baseball team, you need to have players that are good enough to play professional baseball. So, you know, have we had it this much turnover since I've been here? No. I mean, last year we had 8 guys sign pro contracts, so it was still a lot. Is there going to be a little bit different look next year? Yeah, it really will be. You know, it was. You know, we just had our player meetings the other day, and you know, when you sit back there and you see these guys coming in and out of your office, all the guys that are leaving, it was tough. I mean, we've had a bond with a lot of these kids for 3 to 4 years that were, part of this first class that made this thing. And when you see these guys coming out of your office, you're so excited for them. But to be honest, it was pretty emotional to see what these guys did these last couple of years. And I mean, as a coach, you're forever grateful for it. But yes, I mean, it's going to be a process, and it'll be a little bit different look out there. But we got a lot of returning players coming back too. I mean, just go around the diamond. I mean, you got Breen, and you got Talladay, and I mean, we've got a lot of different guys out there. So.
These kind of the guys you expect to pick things up from a leadership standpoint, especially Talladay and Breen going into next year.
Talladay and Breen, there's no question. And to be honest with you, in our end of the year meetings, that's where the conversation started, and that's where the conversation ended. I know what Ryan Breen can do, and I know what Chris Talladay can do, and those guys are going to be two of the best players in the country next year. And you remember that I said that a year from now because it's the truth. Those two guys will be two of the best players in America next year, physically speaking, with what they do. And they both need to continue to do what they do leadership-wise. They both do a great job, there's no question, but they can continue to grow from that, and that'll play a large role in our success. Even the kids, look, even those young kids, the freshmen that didn't play a large amount for us this past year, those guys were heartbroken. Those guys know it. Those guys walk into my player meetings a day or two ago, and they were pretty mad about it. But you can see how bright the future is. I mean, I hope people can see it. Look down at Pearl, Mississippi. Look what Eric Barber did. Look what Spencer Haynes did. Look what JoJo Woods did. How about JoJo Woods in the championship? Okay, that kid's a player. So, I mean, we've got it going. We've got the rotation back. I mean, a lot of it, you look at Atkins, you look at Lively, you look at Nuss, you look at Skoglund. I mean, we've got some things. Obviously, the back end of the bullpen is going to be something we need to figure out, but we've got enough guys out there.
From a closer standpoint, I know Jimmy Reed comes back. Is that a position, maybe a Garrett Nuss you'd look at? Or, I know it's kind of early to make those determinations, but have you thought about what you might do to replace a Joe Rogers next year?
Yeah, I really haven't, to be honest. I really haven't. I mean, in your mind, there's a couple kids, and even incoming kids, that I think have the ability to do that. But there's a lot that goes into being a closer or a setup guy. You've got to have a plus pitch, I think, is one, and you've got to have the mentality. So we've got some kids in our program that have that, and we've got some incoming kids that I'm pretty excited about. But I mean, I think there's returning pitchers on our staff that could be starters, and I think there's a couple of returning pitchers on our staff that could be closers too. So it's a little bit too early to say for that.
Did Austin Johnson redshirt this year?
Yes, yeah. AJ will be back. Yep, AJ is going to be back for us next year. We're excited about that. AJ did I mean, he was obviously hurt for the majority of the year this year, but Austin will be back. He's actually up playing in the Valley League right now in Waynesboro. He's pretty close to 100%. His progression has gone very well. And AJ's a guy, that didn't really play this year for us, was hurt, who I expect to have big things. I mean, Austin was part of that class with all of those kids, and as a lot of people know, started virtually every day as a freshman. So he's somebody that's going to, I would anticipate, Austin being a humongous role. We talk about leadership, Talladay, Breen, AJ, those guys all came in together, and Austin, I would assume, will play somewhere in the infield for us next year and have an opportunity to do that. We need power next year. I mean, we do. There's one thing that we need, I can tell you that. We need some offensive power. We need some right-handed power. I mean, you got Matos coming back, which is great. But, when you look at our club, if you break it down, we had 90 stolen bases this year, okay? 75 of our 90 stolen bases are gone. All right, that's a lot. I mean, that is a lot. So we need to be able to replace that. So, we need to make sure we continue to run. We have some guys that can do that, continue to run the bases, but we need to get some power in here. AJ's a guy that can provide us some power.
Yeah, I'm talking about power a little bit more because I remember guys like Jonathan Griffin making a big jump from their junior to senior years. Is that something maybe with a Jeremy Matos or a Nick Carrillo you would like to see going into next year?
They need
that kind of progression. May not be on the level of Griffin, but just to make the comparison.
They need to. There's no question. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. When you've got, I'm telling you that we need more power next year. I'm telling you that we need to hit better next year. I mean, we do. That's, our offense is something that this program has been really built around these last couple of years, and we need to do those better. And when you talk about kids getting better, we're bringing in some kids that I think will have the ability to hit for power. But, Jeremy Matos has got legit power. Nick Carrillo has legit power. For us to get better as a team, they need to get better, and they understand that. If guys don't get better, then you're going to get the same result. Well, if we want to win a regional, then we can't have to have a different result. You got to get a little bit better, and those guys will get better. But those are two guys that you alluded to, Matos and Carrillo, who do have the ability to hit some balls out of the park. Okay.